Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I want to share with you guys another product I just picked up, and it's another cell phone. Now, I use Boost Mobile for my carrier. Now, I will do another video about Boost Mobile. I am new to Boost Mobile. I have previously used Virgin Mobile, which for the last 5 years prior to, I don't know, a couple months ago, I've had no issues with Virgin Mobile, and I do have something to say about Boost. Click the video link in the description for that particular review, just give you guys kind of a heads up about the service. But today I want to share with you guys my brand new phone I just bought the other day. This just came out, I believe within like a month, and this is the brand new LG Stylo 6. Now, I've owned the Stylo 2 and the Stylo 4. When they came out with the 5, there wasn't much of a difference between the 5 and the 4, so I opted not to upgrade to that. There was a slight increase in computing processing power, but not really much of a difference. With this, there's been a huge improvement in not only the cosmetics, but the performance. So this is it right here. Again, Stylo or Stylo 6. If you're not familiar with the Stylos, or Stylos if I'm saying that correctly, they have a stylus in the bottom right here. On this particular one, you can see it on the bottom. Not the easiest thing to get out if you don't have fingernails. I have a case on this, so it is a little bit difficult for me to get out. I'm not going to pop that out. But one thing I like that they've done on the new Stylo 6, I'm just going to say Stylo 6, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Stylo, yeah, Stylo 6, like a stylus. Common sense, what am I doing? So anyway, what I really like that they've done with this is prior to this, it was just kind of a, almost a friction style stylus that when you popped in, it just kind of clicked in. With the new one, this is actually spring loaded, so you press it and it ejects. So I feel like it just takes a much better bite on the inside of the case. I can tell you that with my Stylo 5 and Stylo 4 and 2, that every now and then when I'd accidentally drop the phone, that would come flying out. Fortunately, I've always had a case on my phone, so I've never damaged any phone I've ever owned. I even had one fly off the roof of my car, and it was totally fine. So a little bit more about this device. One major improvement is the processing power. What they've done is they've upgraded this to not only an octa-core, which the Stylo 4 and 5 are both octa-core processors. I believe they're 1.8 megahertz. This is a 2.3. Let me double check that if I remember correctly here. Yes, 2.3 gigahertz octa-core processor. This is running Android 10. This is a great phone. I've had this for about a week now. I'm super happy with it. So just a little bit of history here. With my Virgin Mobile service, I've gone through several different phones. I originally had an LG Volt, which I was very happy with, and as time went on, phones got cheaper and cheaper and bigger. So I went from the Volt, I upgraded to the, at that point, the Stylo 2, which I was very happy with as time went on, and I still have all these phones. They still work fine. I went from the Stylo 2 to the ZTE Max, which is still a decent phone. After that, I jumped up to the Stylo, what was that? The Stylo 4. Stayed with the Stylo 4 for a while, then they came out with the CoolPad Legacy. That one I only got probably about 3 months ago. And the reason I keep upgrading was mainly because when I went from the Stylo 2 to the ZTE Max, the storage space jumped up. And unfortunately, with a lot of phones, even though you can put an SD card in these phones and get more storage for your pics and your music, a lot of the apps aren't transferable to the SD card. So some of the apps are designed with a particular phone, depending on what phone and what app you're using. Some will put some of that space on the SD card and use the SD card kind of like onboard internal storage. Other times, some apps aren't transferable. You can't move them over. So I've upgraded from the 16 gigabytes to the 32 gigs of storage, which was great. This one here, they jumped up from 32 to 64. So plenty of room. Remember guys, the operating system does take up quite a bit of room. So before you know it, you use up that space quite a bit, especially if you're involved in smart home tech or any of these tech devices. Everything has an app, so that space fills up pretty quick. 64 gigs is plenty of room. I have probably about, I think, 25 gigs left. I added a micro SD card for my pictures and music. I have 80 gigs of music on this, and I have a 128 gigabyte SD card. It does support up to, I believe, 2 terabytes, but as the storage space increases, so does the price. So I thought 128 gigabyte for what I'm doing with it was more than enough room for music, and I don't need my whole music collection on this. I don't need movies. I just need you know, the stuff that I really like. So 80 gigs is more than enough music, most of which I probably won't even listen to. What I like about this phone too is they've done kind of this. It's only available in one color with Boost Mobile, and I'm not sure with other carriers, maybe different colors, but they have kind of like this silver, kind of pearl white rainbow style back, almost like a chameleon colored case. As you move it, it changes colors. Definitely not something that's not masculine. I like the fact that it's not something that's too rainbowy. Not to say that you can't have a rainbow phone and have it be masculine. I'm not saying that. Don't, you know, shoot the messenger here. But I find sometimes, like with those rainbow styled cases or phones I've seen in the past, it almost starts to take on kind of a pink color. Now me, I love the color pinks, no big deal, but I do like the fact that it is pretty much gender neutral. It has kind of like this pearl white iridium kind of finish. You try to change this color between like a red and a blue. It almost reminds me of like the Ion headlight bulbs back in the day. They were kind of like this aqua pink and red. Pretty cool. This phone does actually have a fingerprint reader, which is pretty standard nowadays, and it has 3 different camera lenses. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys, I honestly don't understand all the different lenses. I believe one is for like macro, another one's for, I guess, getting that kind of, I forget, I'm not a photographer, but getting that particular image that shows like the background really blurry and then the portrait in focus. I don't know what you call it. My sister keeps reminding me about it. I don't remember what it is. I believe it does that. But you have 3 lenses. Definitely click the link in the description and check it out if you want to know more. 6.8 full HD display. Full vision display it's called. Dimensions are 6.74 inches by 3.06 by 0.34 inches, and the phone weighs 7.73 ounces. Definitely not, I've seen some guys review this phone and say it's definitely not a lightweight phone. If you compare it to like a smaller iPhone, yeah, it's definitely not a lightweight phone, but for me, I never care about the weight of a phone. I mean, really, if we're going to be whining about ounces, I mean, I'd rather the phone feel robust and sturdy and durable than something really lightweight. Now I will say that this phone definitely has more weight to it than the Stylo 4 that I had. It just feels like it's a much better phone. There are similarities in design, but this phone, it just feels a lot better. Not only are you getting a faster processor, you're getting 8 cores of processing power, you're getting more storage in the space, you're getting more potential storage with an SD card, you're getting a huge screen, but keep in mind one thing to be noted, my old phones like the Stylo 4 and of course the CoolPad Legacy, even the ZTE Max, physically they're larger. So what they've done here is the phone physically is smaller than say the CoolPad Legacy, but the screen is larger. And I will say though, getting it, I kind of, you know, when you look at the numbers and you see, oh well, you know, 6.3 inch screen versus 6.8, that should be a lot larger. But really, when you get the phone, they're making the screens longer and skinnier than they are making them larger. And I will say that when you compare this to the CoolPad Legacy, that the CoolPad Legacy's screen is smaller, but it's wider, or not wider. I mean, just fit like on a portrait style like this. It's wider. Not like widescreen style. This is wider, widescreen style landscape. In portrait mode, the picture is wider. So a little bit different than some of the other phones. You don't really feel like the screen is that much larger when you compare it to like the Stylo 4 or the Stylo 5 or the ZTE Max or of course the CoolPad Legacy. I'd honestly say that when you are using the CoolPad Legacy, it feels like it's a bigger phone. Just because it is physically a bigger phone, you feel like the screen is larger too, but technically this is a larger screen. I do find this very enjoyable to use. I feel like this is a lot better than the CoolPad Legacy, and I got this for about 140 on special. There was a coupon, normally it's about 180. I will say that if you're in the market for a phone and you are going with Boost Mobile and you are looking at the different options, I know this phone is twice the price of the CoolPad Legacy, and I didn't really have too much of a problem with the CoolPad Legacy, but I will say the antenna on this is better. My calls are better. I don't get as many drop calls, or my phone actually rings in my house, and the speed of my connection, which I do want to talk about in my Boost Mobile review, seems to be better. It just seems like it gets better reception on data as well. Again, Boost Mobile has a lot to be desired when it comes to that. But the price point on their service is really good, but it is something to think about, and I do want to share that with you guys. Again, link in the description for my Boost Mobile review on some of the issues I've had with them. USB Type-C connector. 3.5 millimeter stereo output, so if you want to hook up some headphones, you can. In today's day and age, I don't know why you'd want to with all the different Bluetooth headsets I reviewed. Check out those videos. Pick up a cool AbramTech headset if you haven't picked up one already, or a TrebLab. They are fantastic. You have 13 megapixel selfie camera, 13 megapixel, and it says 13 megapixel rear cameras, 5 megapixel wide and 5 megapixel depth rear cameras. That might mean something to you. To me, it means nothing. And then 13 megapixel selfie. That's great because they've upgraded the selfie camera. I don't remember what it was offhand with the Stylo 4, but you get much clearer selfie pictures. Not that I take many of those. Every now and then I do an Instagram thing. See guys, I don't really do selfies very often because I feel like I'm being arrogant when doing so, and I can't stand selfies, but I will because Instagram is a business. I will every now and then kind of take a couple pictures for Instagram or for a thumbnail if I'm showcasing a product. But if you are a person who loves to get that selfie on, this will give you 13 megapixels. So that's pretty cool. 14 milliamp battery with fast charging. I gotta tell you, I've had fast charging before. This is way better. I don't know what it is. Maybe I was using the wrong power adapter, but this thing charges lightning fast. Unfortunately, it doesn't have wireless charging, but you know, who cares? It's not really a big deal to me. 3 gigs of RAM. I wish they would have done that with 4 because it's not really a big improvement from the other phones out there, but still fast enough. 64 gigabytes of ROM. Again, support for up to 2 terabytes of removable storage, 15 hours of talk time, and Wi-Fi connectivity, Bluetooth 5.0, all the rest pretty standard. Another cool feature with this phone that I really like is the fact it's got, was a real selling point for me, it's got a Google Assistant button right on the side. So no more having to open the app. You pretty much have your Google Assistant with you everywhere you go, and very easily you just press the button and you can turn on your lights, whatever you want to do. That's great because honestly, I'm kind of tired of saying, hey, Google, to do everything. It's really great just to actually click the button and say, turn off the office lights, like I'll demonstrate right now. Turn off the office lights.
Okay, but first you'll have to unlock your device.
I stand corrected. So unlock the device, which I'll do right now, and it should. Come on, baby. There you go.
Alright, turning off 6 lights.
And so press the button, turn on the office lights. Fantastic. So this is a great feature to avoid having to say the wake word. I like the fact you could just press a button and you have this with you everywhere you go. What's great about this is once it's linked up with your Google Home system, if I'm saying that correctly, I can use this anywhere. On the go, in the car, if I'm on the way home, I can turn things on or off. If I'm at my parents' house and I want to turn off my lights, I can do it without having to go into the app anymore. This was a real selling feature for me. I know you can basically set it where you know, with the Google homepage or whatever. I know you can set it where you can use your voice as the wake word, but I like the fact of not having to use the wake word and just using my button. I think this is a real selling feature for this phone, and I hope to see it on other phones. I hope it's not something they do and then do away with, because that, again, is a real selling feature. I like the fact that I can just have this, like I always do, press that button, state what I want it to do, and other than having to unlock it, of course. Once the phone's unlocked, I can just press the button again. It automatically starts listening to my voice, and I can give it commands. So this is fantastic for me. Great feature. Sorry, drew a blank. So fantastic feature. I love that about it. Sorry, I was looking at something at the same time trying to talk. I can't multitask sometimes, guys. What do you want me to say? So really, that's about it. I mean, other than that, it's a pretty straightforward phone. I mean, when you look at the phones out there, a lot of these phones all have the same features. What I always look for is the price, and the price point on this is fantastic. I have to say, I'm a big fan of LG phones. I haven't really had a lot of LG products. For some reason, I always, when I'm buying a TV, it's always a Vizio, and I've kind of stayed clear a little bit with the LGs. again, haven't had a personal problem with their TVs. When I used to sell TVs and electronics back in the day, I did see a lot of LG stuff come back with issues, but again, don't use that as any, don't let that persuade you or dissuade you from getting an LG product. Again, I've only had their phones. I've been very happy with their phones. Every LG Stylo phone I've had has been great. The only reason I've upgraded is because the screens get larger and they get new features. One thing I'd like to see on maybe the next model on the Stylo 7 is one, maybe a little bit longer before coming out with it, so I don't have to keep upgrading, and just a much larger screen. At this point, this is a pretty big screen, but I would really like to see maybe a 7.5, maybe something just a little bit wider. Maybe the length you can keep the same, but it's pretty funny. I saw years ago like this picture of a phone like getting bigger and bigger. It was like 2 feet long. I don't know where it's going to stop. They keep getting bigger, but when I look at like something like my Amazon Kindle, my tablet at 7 inches, it's a really nice big screen. Even though this is still 7 inches, I'm not really sure, or 6.8 inches. You don't really think 7 inches is all that much of a difference, but it really is, depending on how they, I guess, the aspect ratio of that. When you look at a Kindle, it looks huge compared to this, but this is technically a 6.8. It's just kind of a long screen. I would like to see just a little bit width to it, but again, that's just personal preference. I am very happy with the phone. You do have the option to set the display where on top here, you don't have where the camera is. You can set that to actually just be a black bar, and you do just decrease the screen size when you do that. I think what it does is, yeah, it'll put the bars and buttons. So remember, when you have a screen, a lot of times with other phones I've had, they'll say you have like a certain size screen, but then your buttons take up room too, and they're not transparent. So with this, you're really getting, with that activated where it's just wrapping around the camera, you're getting a full 6.8 inch screen. So I love the device. Pretty straightforward review. Again, I'm not like a super technical guy when it comes to all the different things that make this phone better. I can tell you that I'm very happy with it. One nice thing they've done with Boost Mobile that's worth mentioning is every Boost Mobile customer gets free mobile hotspot. And I do want to discuss that again in my other video where you check that out. And just kind of, you know, it's a great feature, but there are some issues with Boost Mobile. So anyway, I am somewhat happy with the service. I love the phone. I got the phone. I don't know if I'll stay with Boost forever, but the price point's really good. If you're in the market, again, I think it really comes down to your location. I'm not really sure what my problem is. I've been having a data issue. You know, I think a lot of times these maps where you look at your house and see where, you know, where you're going to get this great service, I think it's to be taken with a grain of salt. I think there's a lot of factors on whether you're going to get good service or not. So again, totally different video. Definitely check it out. Link is in the description. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. But I am very happy with the phone. And no matter who your service is through, if it's good on Boost Mobile, it'll probably be good on any of the other cellular networks. It's a great phone. It's a great price, and I highly recommend it. So guys, check it out. If you like the content, subscribe to the channel. As always, guys, have a good evening. Take care.